The moment Can and Sara stepped out of the arrival gate, everyone felt it immediately: something was off. This wasn't the usual confident, effortless entrance they were known for. Instead, the air around them was thick, almost heavy, as if something unspoken had just happened minutes before landing. The crowd waiting outside froze for a moment, unsure whether to cheer, record, or simply stare. Sara walked a step ahead, her expression tight, eyes slightly red as if she'd spent the last part of the flight trying not to cry. She kept adjusting the strap of her bag, a nervous gesture she made only when she was overwhelmed. Can followed right behind her, but not with his usual protective calm. His jaw was locked, his eyes scanning every corner, and his pace was sharp, impatient. If someone didn't know them, onlar sedisi gunsanardi. Ama onlari tanian herks berbakista and ladi. Aralarinda bersayasan misti. The flashlights started immediately. Cameras burst like tiny explosions, surrounding them with a mix of admiration and chaos. Normally, Can handled this with ease, a smile, a wave, maybe even a short joke to lighten the moment. But today he didn't even look up. Sara didn't either. Instead, she whispered something to herself, something too quiet for anyone to hear, but her body language screamed discomfort. A reporter stepped forward and shouted, "Can. How was the holiday? Did you two travel together?" Sara flinched. Can didn't answer. His silence was louder than any statement he could have made. They continued walking, but the gap between them grew. At first it was half a step, then a full step, then two. Sara didn't slow down to match him, and Can didn't try to catch up. It looked almost symbolic, as if whatever happened between them had created a distance that neither of them knew how to close. A few fans approached with excitement, phones raised, expecting a friendly reaction. Sara tried to smile, but her lips trembled. Can gently moved one fan aside, not rudely, but firmly, a move that surprised everyone because he rarely lost composure like that. It wasn't anger toward the fans. It was frustration, but clearly not at them. By the time they reached the baggage area, whispers had already started spreading across social media. People who were there began posting. Something happened between them. Sara looked like she wanted to run. Can's face, that wasn't normal. Sara finally stopped, placing her bag on the floor, taking a deep breath as if she needed air. Can stopped several meters behind her. For a moment, they didn't move. They didn't speak. They didn't even look at each other. And that silent moment, that was when everyone realized, this wasn't just two people returning from a holiday. This was the beginning of something breaking. Slowly, visibly, and painfully in front of everyone. The cold air outside hit them like a wave, but neither of them reacted. Sara wrapped her arms around herself, not because she was cold, but because her whole body seemed to be folding inward, trying to stay steady. Can walked out a few steps behind her, his posture tall but tense, as if he was trying to appear composed while everything inside him was slipping. Outside, the chaos was even worse. Fans had gathered along the barriers, waiting to catch a glimpse of them. But once they saw the two walking separately, not speaking, not even looking at each other, the cheering stopped. Phones were raised, but the excitement turned into recording pure tension. Sara headed straight toward the car waiting for them, her steps quick, almost panicked. She kept brushing her hair back, wiping under her eyes, pretending it was just tiredness. But everyone around her saw the truth. She wasn't just tired. She was devastated. Can followed, but slower. Every few seconds he looked at her back, like he wanted to say something, fix something, undo whatever happened. But he didn't call her name. He didn't try to reach her. He just watched her like a man who realized too late that he had pushed someone too far. A woman from the crowd said quietly, "Why aren't they walking together?" Another responded, "Look at her face, something happened." The whisper spread like wildfire. When Sara reached the car door, her hand hovered over the handle for a moment. She closed her eyes, just 1 second, but in that 1 second, her entire expression fell apart. Her lips trembled, her breathing hitched, and it was clear she was fighting hard not to break in front of everyone. Ken saw it. He sped up immediately, nearly jogging the last few steps. "Sara," he said softly, not loud, not demanding, just her name, almost a plea. Sara froze. But she didn't turn around. That silence between them was louder than any fight could ever be. A reporter, sensing the moment, pushed forward. "Can? People are saying you two argued during the flight. Is that true? Did something happen between you and Sara?" Ken didn't explode this time. Instead, he closed his eyes briefly, inhaled slowly, and when he looked up, there was exhaustion in his face, and something like regret. But he didn't answer. His silence said enough. Sara quickly got into the car, her head turned away from him. She didn't wait. She didn't ask. She didn't look back. The door closed with a soft but final thud. Ken stood there for a moment, just staring at the closed door, his hand still slightly raised as if he'd meant to reach for her but realized too late that he no longer had permission. The driver hesitated, waiting for instructions. Ken didn't move. The cameras captured everything. The way his shoulders slumped, the breath he let out, the moment he realized this wasn't just a bad day. This was something breaking. A fan whispered to her friend, "She's hurt." The friend replied, "He is too. Look at him." And for the first time that day, it wasn't just the public wondering what happened. It was Ken himself, standing in the cold, realizing that whatever he said, or didn't say, on that plane, had consequences he wasn't ready for. The moment Ken finally got into the car, the atmosphere shifted again, but this time it wasn't the chaotic tension of the airport. It was worse. It was quiet. Heavy. The kind of silence that fills every corner and forces two people to confront everything they've been avoiding. Sara sat on the far side of the back seat, leaning against the door, her face turned toward the window. She didn't say a word. She didn't move. She just stared outside as the streetlights flickered across her reflection. Her eyes looked tired, but more than that, they looked disappointed. Deeply. Ken closed the door gently, as if even the sound of it could push her further away. He didn't sit normally, he turned slightly toward her, elbows on his knees, hands clasped together. He kept opening his mouth like he wanted to start, then shutting it again. The driver started the car, but even he sensed the tension. He lowered the music, slowed his movements, avoided looking in the mirror. Sara finally spoke first. But her voice wasn't angry. It was calm. Too calm. "You didn't have to talk to me like that," she said quietly, still looking out the window. Ken swallowed hard. "Sara. I didn't mean, you did," she said. Not harsh. Not loud. Just honest. "You always do when you're cornered." Those words hit him harder than she knew. He leaned back, running a hand over his face. "I was stressed. The cameras, the questions, the timing." "That's not an excuse," she interrupted, her voice cracking for the first time. "You know it's not." For a moment, neither of them spoke. The car moved through the busy airport road, but inside it felt like time had stopped. Ken tried again. Softer this time. "Sara, I didn't mean to hurt you." She finally turned to him, and the look on her face made his chest tighten. It wasn't anger. It was sadness, the kind that comes from being disappointed by someone you trusted. "You didn't hurt me with what you said," she whispered. "You hurt me with what you didn't say." Ken froze. His brows pulled together. "What do you mean?" Sara took a shaky breath. "When they asked, when they shouted those questions, you didn't say anything. Not one word. Not to protect me. Not to stop the rumors. Not to show that she stopped herself, blinked fast, looked away again. I was standing right there, and you acted like I was nobody." Those words shattered him. His voice dropped low. "You know that's not true." "Do I?" she whispered. The driver glanced at them in the mirror but quickly looked away, realizing he was witnessing the end of something fragile. Can reached out slowly, carefully, not touching her, but trying. Sara, I was trying to keep things from getting worse. Then congratulations, she said, tears forming. It got worse. He closed his eyes, exhaling shakily. He had no defense, no excuse, no explanation that could undo what she felt. The car stopped at a red light, and in the glow of the traffic, they looked like two strangers who used to be close. Sara wiped under her eyes, trying to hide the evidence. Ken stared at her, memorizing every detail, understanding for the first time that he was losing her, and maybe this time, there wasn't a way to pull her back. The car turned into the quiet residential street leading to Sara's place. The tension had shifted again, it wasn't explosive anymore, not sharp, not loud. It was fragile. Like something delicate that could crack with the smallest wrong movement. Sara kept her arms wrapped around herself, unable or unwilling to look at Ken again. Ken, on the other hand, looked like a man fighting a losing battle, wanting to fix something that had already slipped too far out of his hands. As the car slowed in front of her building, Sara exhaled softly, as if she'd been holding her breath the entire ride. She reached for the door handle immediately. But Ken gently placed his hand on her arm, not to stop her, but to make her pause. Sara, please don't get out like this, he said, voice low and steady, but full of something raw. We need to talk. Properly. Not like in the airport. Not like this. She hesitated, just for a moment. Her shoulders rose and fell. We already talked, she replied softly. You just didn't hear me. Ken's expression tightened. I did hear you. Then why does it feel like you didn't, she whispered. He didn't have an answer. And the silence that followed was worse than anything they'd said. Sara opened the door halfway, but before stepping out, she turned back. Her face was tired, not from the flight, not from the cameras, but from him. From the emotional weight they'd been carrying for too long. You know what hurt the most, she said quietly. Today wasn't about the airport. Or the cameras. Or the questions. She swallowed hard. It was about the way you looked at me. Like I was a problem you needed to manage. Not someone you cared about. Ken's chest rose and fell sharply. Sara, that's not what she shook her head. You say I know you. But you forget that I also feel you. Her voice cracked. And today I felt distance. Coldness. Like you were shutting me out before I could even understand why. He moved closer, eyes softening, walls falling. I wasn't shutting you out. I was trying to protect you. From what? She asked. He hesitated. The truth hovered on his lips, something heavy, something he'd been hiding for too long. From everything that happens when people think they know what we are. Her expression softened a little, but only a little. Then maybe you should stop caring what people think and start caring about what I feel. A painful silence. Outside, the street was quiet. The driver pretended not to listen. The world felt suspended. Finally, Ken spoke again, barely above a whisper. I don't want to lose you. Sara closed her eyes, and for a moment it looked like she might break. Then stop pushing me away. I'm not trying to, he said, voice trembling. I'm just scared. Scared of saying the wrong thing. Scared of ruining everything. Scared that one day, you'll walk away. She looked at him directly for the first time since they landed. And today? Did you not see me walking away? The question hit him like a punch. Sara stepped out of the car. Ken reached for her, instinctively, desperately. But stopped himself just before touching her arm. He knew he'd lost that right the moment he chose silence over her. She stood outside the car, wiping a tear that escaped despite her trying to hide it. Good night, Can. Sara, wait, but she didn't. She closed the door gently, not angrily, and somehow that hurt more, then walked toward the building, not looking back even once. Can stayed in the car, eyes fixed on the spot where she had stood. His hands were trembling, his breath uneven. And in that moment, alone in the quiet car with the streetlight casting a dim glow, he realized something he should have known all along: losing someone doesn't always happen in one dramatic moment. Sometimes, it happens quietly, in an airport, in a car, in the silence between two people who care but can't find the right words.